What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole and this is Nicole Recovers. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a story time from my past. I want to give you guys a quick trigger warning before we get into the story because this story is about SA. And it can be hella triggering if you're somebody who has gone through something similar. So I just want to let you guys know before we get into the story time. So I will also be talking about drugs and drug usage and all those different things that go along with addiction. So I understand if this one's just a little bit too heavy for you, and if you don't want to watch it, you can always come back to the next one. All right, so let's get into it. First and foremost, today I have 2,867 days sober. That's almost 8 years. And I'm really freaking proud of myself. I got sober in July of 2015 after losing custody of my son, and I haven't looked back since. Within my addiction, I went through many different hardships. I've been through a lot of hardships in my life just in general. A lot of them were self-inflicted because of my poor choices during active addiction. So I don't make excuses for my actions. I don't blame anybody else for my actions. And I take full responsibility for the things that I did in active addiction. Now, what we're going to be talking about tonight is the time that I was raped. I don't think there's ever a time where a person is raped where they deserve it or where it was their responsibility. Just because I'm a drug addict doesn't mean I don't deserve my own respect from other people and self-respect. No one ever has the right to come into your physical space and violate that, whether you're on drugs or not. It doesn't matter if I was pop locking it, dropping it, naked, doing a fucking handstand on the pole. I should have never had this happen to me. So I'm going to take you back to about 2003 or 4. I had just started working at the Department of Human Services. No, not Human Services. The Department of Finances. The Revenue Office. The Department of Revenue. Where you get your IDs, your car tags, your driver's license. You pay sales tax. You pay all that stuff. And I had been working there and I was making pretty good money, and I had gotten kicked out of my mother and father's house because they finally realized that my drug addiction was out of hand. Okay. Now you have to understand, I graduated in 2000. Okay. So I was 18 when I graduated, and this was like 2003, 2004. So I had been kicked out of my parents' house for probably a good 6 months solid, and they weren't allowing me to come back. So I was trying to find somewhere to stay, and I had been house hopping and couch hopping, and I had made friends with this guy named Shane when I was in high school. The way I met Shane was I was at a basketball game with my boyfriend Robert, and Shane was sitting behind us, and he was harassing my boyfriend. He was saying, she needs to drop the 0 and get with the hero. Like, he was hot on my trail. So anyway, needless to say, my boyfriend hated his guts. But me and Shane kind of became friends later on in life after me and my boyfriend broke up. He was addicted to cocaine. I was addicted to all drugs. And so I would go over to his house. And because I was spending all my money on drugs, I really didn't have a way to pay for me to live there. So Shane would basically take out my rent and trade. He would have me do the most degrading things. And I'm going to share them with you guys, but I just want you all to realize that I was in a pretty bad spot in my addiction where, like I said, I didn't have extra money to be paying nobody to live nowhere. And I needed to have a place where I could eat, I could have a shower, I could store my stuff in, it would be safe, etc., etc. So Shane would basically use me as his slave. I would clean his whole house. And this was a huge historic house in downtown Hot Springs. It had 2 stories. It was super old, all original wood flooring. It was like a really nice house. But he would basically make me clean the house from top to bottom. He would make me bathe him in the bath. And you guys are probably thinking, oh, there must have been some kind of sexual thing going on during these bath times. No. This man would make me call him the king, and he would make me get a loofah with Dove moisturizing soap on it, and he would make me scrub him like a baby. No joke. There was no touch my pee-pee or nothing like that. It was literally him having me be a slave. So I would scrub his ass clean, and then he would get out. He would say, I would have to say, King, your towel's ready, and stand there with the towel open, where he would step into the towel. I would wrap him up like a little boy and help him get warm. And then he would go sit on his bed, and I would have to get lotion and lather this man's body from head to toe in lotion. And like I said, there was no, like, he wasn't aroused by it, nothing like that. It was literally like he looked at me as his servant. It was so, honestly, I think back to that and I think, God, Nicole, you had no respect for yourself. Like, you were so desperate to get drugs that I would do anything. I would literally call some fucking loser cocaine crack addict like me the king to get free drugs and a place to stay. So I just want to put y'all in the mindset, okay? So one day, and he was also very verbally and physically abusive to me. Like, he would scream at me, he would yell at me, he would call me worthless, he was very mean to me. I remember one time in particular, our friend Tyrone was there, and he threw me into the glass door. It was one of those screen glass doors that opens, and Tyrone was so mad. He was like, hey man, don't fucking do that to her. And he was like my real friend, you know what I mean? Shane treated me like a piece of shit, and he used me and abused me. So anyway, I had come home from work. I was working at Olive Garden when I lived with Shane, and at Olive Garden, we had to wear these like button up the front white shirts that are long sleeve with a long tie, a long black apron, black pants. I was fully covered, baby. Wasn't a piece of skin showing. And I came home from Olive Garden, sat on the couch, and Shane's friend Black was there. And I had been there with Black alone many, many times. Like, I was not scared or worried for anything. He had a couple Xanax. He gave me a couple footballs. We smoked a blunt. We were watching TV. And as the evening progressed, probably about 45 minutes into the evening, he started calling me by my last name. So my last name used to be DeMayo. So he started going, DeMayo, in this like weird kind of like creepy voice. I was like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? And he got up and he went to the bathroom, or so I thought. So while he was gone in the bathroom or wherever he was at that I thought he was, the lights went out in the house. So I got up and I went to turn the light on, and it wouldn't turn on. And that's when I heard him saying, DeMayo, don't make this difficult, DeMayo. And I got fucking scared because I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I wasn't hard, I wasn't slow or anything. I knew what was going on. And so I started trying to find my way around the house without falling over shit, trying to run around and get out of the house safely without him bothering me. And he caught me by my ankle and dragged me by my ankle across the whole, he dragged me down the stairs, through the hallway to the side room that was like by the computer room and the laundry room, but it wasn't like, it was like just like this random side room. It was an old house, like I said. And that's when he told me, he threw me over the couch, on the arm of the couch, and he said, you can give it to me or I'm going to take it. And at that moment in time, I was thinking in my mind, why didn't he just ask me? Like, honestly, I was so bad in my active addiction, we could have probably worked out some kind of trade or something, but it was the scariest moment because he was like, I will beat the dog shit out of you. You know what I mean? And I was just, I thought this was somebody, I trusted this person. I slept in the living room on the couch sometimes, and he would be on the recliner, and I had never had any issues from this man ever, and it was so out of left field that the moment everything was over, I remember just grabbing my car keys and running as fast as I could to the front door and jumping in my car and riding out. And I never went back to Shane's house ever again. When I think back to this, I truly believe, because I was texting Shane, I was calling Shane, I believe he did it on purpose. I believe Shane said, hey, I'm going to be over at so-and-so's house. Nicole will be home at this time. Do whatever you want to do to her. She's, whatever. Because that's the kind of person this guy Shane was. Let me give you a little backstory on Shane. When me and Shane and my friend Matt were younger, I guess Matt had got cocaine from him or owed him cocaine on a debt. I'm not sure. Well, Matt was at the Phillips 66 station, and so was Shane. This dude, Shane, sliced my friend's throat from the back of his ear right here, right to here. And my friend Matt, the one who's in the hospital, who I told you guys, who struggles with alcoholism, he almost died when we were kids from having his neck sliced open and just almost blood completely out, right? That's the kind of person Shane was, right? And against my better judgment, I befriended him years and years and years after that. He went to prison, he got out, all that, right? And I should have never, ever became friends with him. And Matt told me that. He was like, you do not need to be around that dude, but I didn't listen, right? When you're on drugs, you don't listen. And I needed somewhere to stay, and I felt kind of desperate at the time, Well, years after that happened with Black, and years after I stopped talking to Shane, my little sister Christine, my baby sister, was in college. And she calls me, you'll never guess who I'm smoking with. And I'm like, who? And she says, Shane. And when I tell you guys, I got chills all over my body. And I was like, get away from him. Never go around him again. Because he liked my sister. This dude liked me, my sister, and my other sister since we were kids, And so when I knew that he was hanging out with my baby sister, I was like, fuck that noise. And so my sister got home. She's like, what's your problem? What's the deal? And I told her what happened, and she's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I just couldn't believe it. She's like, he's in my class. They were both in college, and he was in her class. He was like 40 something years old taking college classes, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's how they got into each other's pathway. I froze when I heard his voice with my sister because, like I said, I truly believe that he told Black that I would be home after work and to do whatever he wanted to do, and that was the kind of person Shane was. I almost want to say his last name so bad, but I'm not going to, because I'm just not going to do that. But if people from Hot Springs watch this video, they're going to know exactly who I'm talking about. And, now in 2023, the last time I heard from Shane was when me and my husband went to Branson in 2020 or 2019. I can't remember which year. But he had a girlfriend, and his girlfriend's daughter was calling me because he had kidnapped her or something. And long story short, he was strung out on meth and cocaine. And so, that's what happens, when you don't try to do better or try to change your life, and you also try to hurt other people in the process, good things don't happen for you. Eventually, all that life catches up to you, and that's what I believe is happening with him now. Life is finally catching up to him. But in the process of my almost 8 years of sobriety, I've been able to learn to forgive Black for what he did to me. Will I ever go and say, oh, Black, I love you so much, let's be friends? Hell no. But I forgive him, and that forgiveness has allowed me to let go of that experience and heal and grow and become better. You know what I'm saying? For a long time, I didn't want to even be touched by people. When I met my husband, I was very insecure. I was very, I didn't trust anybody. And it was because a lot of the things that happened to me in active addiction, that with that rape happening, and then my old boyfriends, experiences with those, I just had a lot of trauma from past relationships. And I always thought it was my fault that happened to me, because I would always tell myself, if I hadn't been using drugs, I would have never been in that situation, and it would have never happened to me. And I thought that for many, many years. Many years. And it wasn't until probably like 4 years of me being sober, and I was sharing the story with my people on Facebook, where I realized that it wasn't my fault. And no matter what, it wasn't my fault. It doesn't matter if I was, like I said, it doesn't matter if I was naked laying on that couch with my legs spread wide open. No man or woman should ever violate your space and take something from you that you're not offering them. And I definitely wasn't offering it to him. I was just sitting there chilling, y'all. And it was so crazy because it was almost like somebody that has like another personality, because he was so kind and quiet and chill and relaxed. And then it's like he switched to like another personality and like started calling me by my last name. But anyways, I wanted to share that story with you guys, and I wanted to share with you guys that I've been able to forgive, and I've been able to realize that it's not my fault. And that's such a huge thing for me. And what really helped me realize that it wasn't my fault was when my mom found out, because she was actually watching one of my videos and she heard me telling the story. And I sat and talked with her about it, and she was like, telling me that it doesn't matter if you are strung out on every drug known to man. No one should ever treat you disrespectfully, ever. And that was part of the stigma of addiction that I had always listened to, is that because I was a drug addict that I was worthless and I didn't deserve respect. And I carried that with me all through my drug addiction. So I hope by hearing my story, if you've gone through something similar, that you will realize that that's not your fault and that you deserve respect. And it doesn't matter if you guys are watching my channel and you're in recovery or if you're still getting high. Every single person deserves love and respect and bodily autonomy. Like, you are a human and you are worthy. And I hope that my stories help you learn something. And I hope that you don't repeat the same behaviors and get yourself into situations like I did. I hope that these are like cautionary tales for y'all. Okay. All right. Love y'all. See you later on the next one. Bye.